Welcome to the HMBR.
Ooh. No.
We're abbreviating it now. It is actually March. We're here to review Humble Monthly Bundle for March. And it is March.
Okay. Can you take your energy down a little bit? I'm a little overwhelmed.
I feel like his energy sort of reflects this bundle, though.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, we'll get into it.
Yep, I'm kind of...
First game, Warhammer Vermintide II.
So we all more or less like this in the early look.
We did actually play more of this game altogether.
Don't like that you start with that, because it makes it sound like we didn't actually play the later ones.
Wait.
We're just gonna ruin the illusion of professionalism that we have.
So we did!
When did we have the illusion of professionalism?
I like to think that we always had it, but
Oh, okay.
not anymore.
Alright, Vermintide 2. I don't know how much more I can say about this game. It's a lot of fun. Left 4 Dead-ish. Melee focused.
The one thing we did that we didn't do in the early look was we unlocked some perks and we unlocked secondary like subclasses.
I do like the subclass mechanic.
It's an interesting idea. My subclass was really shit, though, so that didn't really change anything for me.
Yeah, like the three subclasses want you to play specific ways, like they have playstyles associated with them, so if it's not the playstyle that you like, it's just kind of a worthless subclass.
I think excluding the witch character, whose all of her subclasses are very similar, everybody has a defensive one, a ranged one, and a melee one.
Also, it changes your, like, super, right?
Yep.
Or your
It does. Yeah.
ulti, whatever we call it in this game.
Yeah.
Your Vermintide? 2?
No.
The one thing I will say, from my perspective, I did not like the first one, but I really like this one. It seems more fluid and fun and more natural. My sort of one note that I don't really like is that I felt like in, for instance, Left 4 Dead, because you're using more weapons that are range-based, when you're playing the dwarf or somebody who's a frontliner, you're basically just mashing the button in order to just swing your axe or your hammer or whatever you're holding, and shield blocking occasionally.
Yeah.
So it feels more button mashy, feels a little bit less strategic, but that's not something against the game. I know it's more melee focused anyways.
When you get in the harder difficulties, you're gonna have to like actually use strategy with your teammates. Like Alex, Sam, Cassie, and I got to some later difficulties, and we got to the point where it was really helpful if Sam just stood in the front with a shield and people like hit people over him because he was the dwarf.
Or like kiting a big group of enemies around and then using an AoE attack on them.
Yeah, that does sound a lot more interesting, because I was actually, what Aaron said was pretty much my experience too, was towards the end I started to get a little fatigued. It started to feel really repetitive, because it was just like, run to the area, try to kill everyone as fast as you can to get that kill count.
Yeah.
The difficulty that we're forced to play when you start that game, I think, is far too easy.
It's too bad there's no way that you could let the player select their difficulty. I know that's like unheard of, but
Yeah, the way the loot system works, they want you to be like a certain power level before you move on to like veteran difficulty or whatever. Otherwise, you just get stomped. But there's just like healing everywhere in the difficulty we're in, so it's like we're never without health pots.
yeah, it's very not difficult. Like, the only trouble we had was when the boss locked onto me for the whole fight as the squishy rogue, and I just got stomped.
The boss fights do break up the whole just button mashing.
I like the boss fights.
And some of them are a lot more interesting than any of the Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I don't really feel like Left 4 Dead they just have the unique enemies. I didn't really feel like they had bosses that are like you're having to face or fight in order to progress the story.
Yeah, they've got like a tank.
Yeah, tank's like the only boss.
Yeah, but then like this game also has like a tank.
It just
He's just not a boss.
Yeah.
He's just like a tank.
It also has just like other tank-like mini bosses.
Right.
Sure.
Voting time?
Yeah, sure.
It's gonna be a yes for me.
And yeah, I will give it a yes.
I will still give it a yes as well.
Did you yes also, Caleb?
I did very early though. It's a yes.
He whispered it.
EDF 4.1. It is the 4.1st game in the EDF series.
You gonna give it a subtitle?
Earth Defense Force 4.1. What is the subtitle? I don't
The
remember.
Shadow of New Despair.
Why'd you even start it? You didn't know it.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to be able to make it back to the page in time to read it as I read
Damn it.
the first part. The Shadow of New Despair. What a good subtitle.
Yeah. Should we go through and read off all of the actual titles for the DLC as well? Okay,
We're
just
like
checking.
19.
Just checking.
Yeah, in terms of a value prospects, they gave us a ton of DLC with this one.
All of the DLC.
Yeah.
For it.
One by one.
They're all individual Steam keys. There's just a massive list of Steam keys for this game. It's a very arcadey shooter in which you're fighting giant insects that cannot fly. Until, they can later. But
Wow.
Great, yeah.
like they make the voice acting so over the top and cheesy. It's like you're playing like a D-rated movie.
It's really part of its charm, though.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I love it to bits.
It's endearing.
And the bugs are enormous, and the explosions, like, they're just body parts go everywhere when you kill them.
Yeah, my favorite part is calling in an enormous artillery strike and then having my game stutter constantly while the explosions are happening. And then I come back and everything's dead, and usually Aaron's also dead.
Yeah, that's my favorite part, is getting hit by an airstrike, because nobody mentioned they were airstriking.
No, it's after. They've been, like, holding there for, like, 9 seconds in order to get it to actually work. And it's like, oh, Aaron, you probably shouldn't be down. Well,
No, that's
Too late, I
the
guess.
missile. That's the missile. That's different. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just a giant single
Very
explosion.
similar. The end result is identical.
Important notes: you can sing an entire song through individually selecting lines of it in the emote callouts. So
pretty good.
There's, 4 classes?
4 classes.
The one that flies, and I don't care about the other 3, someone's gonna have to help me.
There's the one that flies. There's the one that calls in stuff like vehicles and nukes and whatnot. There's the one that Alex was playing, which I don't even know how to describe.
Fencer.
and then there's the best class, which is just the soldier.
Then there's the boring soldier
Yeah,
class.
there's a regular soldier class that just gets like assault rifles or whatever. It doesn't really do
Oh,
nothing.
yeah.
Fencer is just like a big exosuit, and he can carry like 4 weapons at a time.
You know, for Fencer, you'd think it'd be like a small, agile character.
That is what it sounds like.
Not the big, hefty boy.
You have like a big pneumatic pole that you can like shoot from your arm. That's the fencing part, I think.
Do you fence with it?
Yeah, you like shove it at them really
You can
hard.
stab people. Why don't they call it Lancer? Lancer would have been much better.
That would make more sense.
Let's not be reasonable. Does anything in this game seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, that boring soldier class.
Hey!
That's true.
Don't
Nothing
judge
else,
my soldier
though.
class. Well, I'm ready to vote. I'm going to give it a yes just because it's comical, and I like the voice acting.
Yeah, I give it a yes. It's corny and endearing, and it's just like a fun time.
I'm also gonna give it a yes. It's like Dynasty Warriors, but with giant insects, and how can you not love that?
And also enormous explosions. So yes.
All right, so moving right along to Cultist Simulator. Cultist Simulator is a really weird game.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, what are you gonna say it's like?
Doodle God. That's what I'm trying to think
Ooh,
of. Doodle God.
Good call.
So Doodle God, yeah, I'm gonna start by explaining a different game and explain this one, I guess.
Yeah, pretend I don't know what Doodle God is.
So Doodle God's about taking a bunch of elements and combining them to make new stuff, and this is pretty much the same way. So while in Doodle God you would combine like fire and rock to make metal, here you would combine dreams and insight to get the Watchman's secret. And it makes about as much sense as that sounds like it would, but I found it really engaging.
I'm really glad that no one else really grasped this game, it sounds like.
No.
Because, man, I'm
Yeah.
lost.
It has no tutorial.
No.
None!
It just kind of throws you into the crucible. It goes slow enough that you can kind of bullshit your way through, but
A
I've
little
done
bit.
2 run-throughs of it and died very fast, it feels like.
One thing I didn't realize, this was made by Sunless Sea people, which I feel like you don't get any of that good writing they have in
Well,
this.
there's a lot of flavor text and stuff if you actually like read the descriptions on things.
Yeah.
So I guess the point of it, as the name would suggest, is you found a cult. And like that's the whole idea. Like it starts off you're just like doing a day job, and then you have dreams, and you get like all this weird esoteric garbage that you can try to combine, and eventually you can like recruit followers and get them to like assassinate the police officer who's on your case. And like I randomly got associated with like a bomb maker. I couldn't figure out what the fuck to do with him, and he left. But I had him on my board for a while. But yeah, the first time I played it, I got sick, didn't have any money, and died. And the second time, I got so sad that I died.
Wow.
So really doing super good.
A little bit of despair.
Alex also died in that.
Oh, did you?
Went to work once, got fired, and then used up all the rest of my money that I had trying to form a cult.
Yeah, what I found, if you die once, there's actually a few different openings you can do.
Oh, cool.
So like the first one just throws you in, you're just doing like some menial fucking job. But like the second time I played, I was a doctor, which gave me a lot more money, but I think it gave me despair, which you can kind of see how I died from despair. Because I just kept racking that shit up, and then randomly an event showed up that was like, hey, if you don't get some contentment like now, you're dead. And I was like, oh, okay.
I just got to the point where the 4 like basic ones that you start out with, you know, the work and dream and study?
Study,
yeah.
And then whatever the 4th one is.
Explore.
Explore. I was like starting to grasp those 4, and then I had like 3 other things pop up on the right side of the map, and I'm like, so I just have to like mouse over things to see if I can place a card eventually. And I'm okay, well, I'll just toss some cards in there. I'm sure. Yep. Progress the story.
I know you can click on a slot to figure out what cards go in it. Can you click on a card to figure out what slots it can go in?
Not that I know.
If you grab a card, it'll highlight all the different spots you could put it.
Oh, okay, right.
It highlights the different squares.
What a great thing to put in a tutorial.
Yeah, this game I feel like really suffers from not having a minor tutorial.
Like anything at all, being like, hey, you can put cards in a thing. Like I had to figure that out.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like that kind of adds to like kind of the mystique of it. It's almost like a Dark Souls or Bloodborne kind of thing where like it doesn't really give you much to go off of. And so kind of discovering how to play is kind of...
The Dark Souls of tarot card games.
Yes, you got it.
Those kind of teach you how to play, though. I feel like this just throws you into it.
My favorite part of the game is when you first form your cult, and then it's like, you formed a cult, but a cult with only one member is really just an odd hobby. Or like, it says something along those lines.
Yeah, the flavor text is pretty good. I don't know, it's not like Bloodborne just throws you in a room with a werewolf and is like, okay.
And apparently that's not effective at teaching how to play, if we know anything from Aaron's experience.
Hey! Okay, we're getting off topic.
This game is gonna be a no for me. I'm gonna go ahead and vote.
Yeah, I'm also giving it a no.
It's a yes from me. I thought this game was really interesting.
Yeah, I'm like right on the fence. I don't know.
Make it a tie, make it a tie.
But a yes.
You're gonna give it a yes?
Yeah.
Really?
Got him.
This is how I feel about almost everything in this bundle. I feel like all of it's like, eh.
Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody liked Tower Unite.
I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you remember PlayStation Home? How they shut it down because it sucked and nobody liked it? What if they did it again, though? I don't know why you would do it again, but they have. You like walk around this virtual space. It's almost like Second Life-ish. I've never played Second Life, so maybe I'm way off base with that.
No, it's like VR chat.
Yeah, there's just like a big plaza,
But with
and you can
minigames.
like customize your avatar, mainly from things from the Steam Workshop. So you're gonna be all kinds of anime girls, and you're gonna go around, and there's nothing to do in the plaza, but you can go like play shitty laser tag, or like shitty rolling around in a ball for no reason, and it all controls really bad. But it is there.
It's just like a bunch of mini games and also like a chat lobby, sort of.
But you can be Sanic.
You can't be Sanic.
Be Sanic.
The best part of the game is picking from all the varying avatars.
All the memes that people posted to the workshop.
Pretty much.
And that being the best part of your game is not a recipe for a good game.
This game strikes me as something that's like a 12-year-old gets as like the one game that he can get for like 6 months, and it's got like
Everything.
all sorts of little things in it that he can constantly go back to, and his friends all have it, so they're like hanging out in the plaza and stuff.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that I almost want to like, because I really like that idea of just like getting online, like hang out with friends in like a virtual space, and you can go play all this shit. But it's, you know, in practice, it's like, what? Let's just go play a different real game.
Yeah.
That's like good, instead of standing in a virtual space doing nothing.
Just for perspective's sake, this game was released April of 2016. It is still in early access.
You can tell. It loads for about 10 years.
But reviews are very positive.
Yeah, I don't know how it's possible.
I don't either.
I think it just advertises itself to a specific crowd that wants that.
I mean, if you think about it, would any of us have even given this game the time of day if it wasn't in this bundle?
No.
No.
Which means we wouldn't have left a negative review either, because we wouldn't have even tried
Exactly.
it. So,
The people who play it are probably the exact people who would want something like this. It's just a guess.
yeah.
Voting time?
Yes.
I think so.
No for me.
No for me?
No, from me.
No for me.
Okay. Up next is Late Shift. It is an FMV, as it describes it, FMV crime thriller. I feel like it was basically like watching a 2-hour movie and just kind of making decisions along the way.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say in comparison to the last FMV we did, this one actually felt like it had at least a mild amount of production.
Yeah.
And the acting was at least mediocre.
I was very surprised by how good it was, like in terms of like quality and acting. Because to be fair, I was expecting complete shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But it's actually quite good.
Yeah, it has its moments that are like, this is very low budget, so this part is laughable.
Yeah.
But the acting was surprisingly decent, I thought.
Did all of you guys finish it?
Yeah.
I actually didn't.
All of us but Caleb, yeah.
I'm curious to hear how everyone's ended.
Yeah, so Alex and I were talking about this earlier. He and I got completely different endings.
Ooh, okay.
If you guys don't mind a little spoilers, we'll just talk about this real quick. My ending was I ended up with this little cup that you were kind of to start the game with, right? That's actually in the auction house. I found it inside of a truck, inside of the secret bin, inside of a box. I was in the back of a box truck, and I pulled it out and put it in my pocket. And then I ended up at the guy's house who was selling it originally and convinced him that it was the fake, and that if he paid me $5 million, I would give him the real one. And so he paid me $5 million, and then we walked outside, and the sort of gang that had been trying to capture me the whole time, or trying to capture the guy the whole time, was there, and they took him away, and you give the main guy the cup back.
Oh,
It seems like weirdly convoluted.
It
No,
wasn't
that-
it made sense in the context of this story that was being told from mine, because I took a very different route. And I think where Alex and I talked about diverting routes is you get to back to the auction house to go get the cup in the first place. And you have kind of 3 choices: go up the stairs, go to the escalator or elevator, or talk to the receptionist. I talked to the receptionist. So I got some more information about what was going on for the day. And then I was able to go out into the car lot and get into the back of the truck and steal the cup in the first place.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I snuck to the elevator, which one thing I thought was funny was you just kind of walk to the elevator when you choose sneak to the elevator. So, and then I got caught upstairs and pretty much run out of the building, and I didn't really get anything out of the auction house. So then I went to the guy that bought the box, his house, and like intimidated him into driving me to the auction house to pick up the box and then getting the cup out of the box.
Oh.
And then I brought the cup to the Triad family at their base.
And then what happened, Alex?
So the only thing I would change is the exact final decision of the game. And the guy that bought the box said he would give me $1 million if I did not tell the Triad about him. So in the final decision, they say, hey, Mei Ling said something about this dude was the one that orchestrated the robbery. Is that true? And I said, no, it's not true, because I wanted the $1 million. And they're like, cool, you can leave. And then I left, and I was like, I'm sorry, Mei Ling, implying that they kept her because she was lying and they killed her. So I spent this whole game protecting her, only to mess up the final decision when they did not tell me whatsoever that it was going to be a negative consequence for her.
So both of you guys like had like a kind of happy ending, I guess. Like your guy
I
was
don't know.
like,
Girl died.
okay, yeah, but your guy's
So
fine.
I'm like an in-between. His was
Yeah, I
like
had,
everything
the
worked out.
happiest
He
of
got
happy.
Wow.
he got like $5 million. Everybody was alive. Mine is like in between.
That must be nice. Yeah, I got framed for murder and got arrested. So, not great, decidedly. Man.
So funny.
I mean, not like haha funny,
No, like haha funny.
but surprisingly good game. It's like a choose your own adventure, and I fucking loved those when I was little.
Yeah.
And I actually quite like I thought I was just gonna play for a little bit and then stop. But once you get like wrapped up into kind of like the heist, I was like, I need to see what's gonna happen now.
Right.
Like, I think my playtime was like 70 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, mine was right about there too.
So
Yep,
it's not
same.
like crazy long, but I really, really liked it.
And at the end, it tells you how many decisions you made and how many scenes you managed to access and how many of the endings you got.
Which is probably the only negative part about this game is it doesn't appear that there's any easy way to go back in and redo decisions.
Yeah.
You basically just have to restart.
I am a little worried going, like, if I ever played it again to see how much of it is, like, predetermined. Like,
Yeah,
how
no.
many paths lead to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
At least the endings seem fairly different, so that's cool.
It says on the page there's 7 endings.
Yeah.
And it said I'd seen 12 of 14 scenes, so there can't be like that many different
dang.
like paths. I think you just make a couple key decisions and get a different ending.
I'm gonna give this a yes.
Yeah, I'll give it a yes as well.
It's a yes from me.
Yes.
This was actually the game we were all, I think, dreading most this bundle, but it ended up being kind of a banger.
Next up's Paradigm. This is a choose-your-own-adventure game. I found it quite similar to
It's just
Deponia.
an adventure game. It's not a choose-your-own-adventure
Sorry,
game.
did I say
that was the last
I
one.
meant point-and-click, but I got confused with the last game. Point-and-click adventure game. I found it incredibly similar to Deponia, in that they both have sort of the same issues, I think. This game starts out, it's pretty funny, and then it quickly gets to, man, this is exhausting at how funny they're trying to be.
Yes, I agree completely.
At least that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, like the intro cinematic, I actually laughed out loud.
Yeah.
And then the game starts, and I'm like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
There were a couple of key scenes where I laughed out loud. Did you guys get to the point where you were talking to the sentient water and you had to force a smile? That one was good. And there's a couple others too, but all in all, I think you're kind of right. Like, they really tried to force comedy. Pretty much every line that they interjected.
But it does end up being much funnier than Deponia was.
That's not a high bar to clear.
I was about to say, like, I did not think this was that much like Deponia, because I think Deponia is, like, really bad, and I actually enjoyed this. Like, I don't know. I actually laughed quite a bit throughout it.
I got very tired of their accents, like, immediately.
Okay, that is the thing I wanted to comment on, actually, is most of the characters' accents are, like, fine. The main character's accent was really annoying at first, and then over time, it just, like, clicked or something with me, and I got to the point where I was like, yeah, okay, this guy's this guy's fine. Like, I don't know what happened. John 3000's, like, clearly the best character.
Yes.
I love John 3000 so much.
A couple of just like notes on some interesting things. Number one, this game has about I was telling Alex, between 6.5 and 8 hours of playtime. So it's fairly extensive. I think I only have about 2 hours in it. Additionally, I was going to mention this the other day. There is a achievement called carpal tunnel revenue, and there's a one point where you get to either do a puzzle or click an ad. And if you click the ad button 10,000 times, you can actually just skip the puzzle entirely.
Great. Yeah, it does have its faults in, I think, what like a lot of old style point and click adventure games get, which is just like you end up pixel hunting for like whatever objects they want you to pick up, because there's like a specific thing that you have to combine with another specific thing to solve whatever puzzle, and it's always like kind of unclear. So you just kind of you end up just putting everything on everything and then trying to use it everywhere. So I think that's the downfall of, I mean, that's just like the genre, sort of.
Yeah. I was gonna say, have you ever played a point and click adventure game where you were like, this is good. The mechanics of what I'm playing.
I think the best one I've played was Broken Age.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's not so much that it's so well designed, but it's so simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have a lot of items that need to be combined around. It's like, you have this item and it's like, oh, I know what to do with this.
Voting time?
Let's do it.
Man, this one's hard for me. I'm kind of like on the fence. I think I'm just gonna give it a question mark because I don't know.
Lazy.
I will give it a yes, actually.
I think it's a no from me, mainly just because I don't think I like this style of game very much.
I'm also quite on the fence. I think I'm going to give it a yes. No, I'll give it a no. I choose no.
Wow.
Oh my gosh!
It doesn't, when you're on the edge, it doesn't take much, and I thought of something and I was like, no.
Who's interested in the next one? Alex?
Oh, Aaron, why don't you? You described this game really well earlier.
Yeah, all right. So Fight and Rage, it's basically a Street Fighter-like game.
Yeah, that's what he said to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't mean Street Fighter like the game Street Fighter, though, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, you're just fighting people on the street.
God. Have you played a video game before? No. Like, you worry me sometimes.
Fight and Rage is like a classic style beat 'em up. Like, run to the right and have a bunch of dudes come at you, and you punch them a bunch. And there's throws and special moves, and then there's boss battles at the end.
I did a lot of throws, and I have no idea how I did them.
Yeah, I don't really know what the controls are.
I feel like they just happened.
What? It tells you exactly how to throw in the beginning of the game. Like, one of the first things it tells you.
Missed that.
I just started punching people, dude.
If you're hitting the punch a button to combo and you hold up, you throw forward, and if you hold down, you throw backwards.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
I mean, I definitely threw people a lot.
You get into situations where you've got a person behind you against a wall, and so you punch the guy in front of you, then you throw him behind you against the guy against the wall, and then while they're both stun locked in that animation, you start punching both of them, and then in the middle of that, you press your special and you like uppercut both of them and then slam them into the ground. Very satisfying.
Which person were you using?
Gal, I think was her name.
Okay, yeah, Gal. She's good. She's good.
I actually quite like this game. I'd started and I was like, oh, I don't like this at all. But by the end of level 1, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, you've got like dash attacks, like double tapping forward or backwards will let you run. Double tapping up or down will let you like sidestep essentially.
That would have been really helpful against one of the bosses who kept punching me repeatedly.
Yeah, that guy, you just sidestep him every time, and then you sidestep back immediately, and then you kick his butt.
It makes sense, because I could not figure out how to avoid that fucking attack. So I just ate it every time.
Yeah, I figured out the sprinting, but not the sidestepping.
You can double jump, and if you double jump late enough that when you flip over, you are on top of somebody, you like kick them, and you go back into the air, and you can do that forever.
It's funny that Aaron mentioned Street Fighter, because there's a bunch of Street Fighter references in here.
There are, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
one of the bosses just has a moveset that looks like M. Bison, and then there's a big bison who's called like F. Bison.
I think it's
Yeah.
T Bison.
T.
Bison.
Bison.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Because it's
And-
F Norris.
God damn it. But I don't know, it's cute. I liked it.
Yeah, I think the simplistic controls, but like allowing you to like combo stuff so easily is pretty cool. It almost starts to get to like a stylish action sort of like situation.
Sure.
It's alright. Kind of repetitive, I found. The only variety in enemies was the bosses, which bosses are kind of cool sometimes.
I don't know though. It throws a decent amount, I feel like. You've got like the girls with the whips, the big fat pig boys, dudes with knives.
The big fat pig boys don't really do anything different, though. They do like a jump.
They
They
jump,
jump at you.
They jump.
That's,
a little
that's the
different.
different
But
thing.
you can hit them in the middle of their jump, just like you hit everything else in the middle of their attacks.
The whip
break it
girls
up.
are really annoying.
The whip girls are actually, yeah, they actually have variety. You have to get up nice and close to person.
Okay. You need to stop describing things like that. I'm very uncomfortable.
Something to say about this one, the style is really cool because it's like on a CRT and you can kind of see the edges of the CRT and it's all got scan lines and everything. Pretty cool. Voting time?
Yes, do it.
No for me.
All right, I will give it a yes.
I'm also going to give it a yes.
I'm on the edge, but I think give it a yes.
Yeah, suck it, Aaron. How's it feel? How's it feel to be so wrong?
How does it feel to be you normally?
Yeah. You're probably used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, before we start this next one, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we play this game already in a Humble Bundle? Or a game that's like exactly like it? Yeah.
We did play a game that's similar. I forget what it was called, but you run over reindeer.
Yes! That's the one!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a Humble original.
Yes, it was!
Yeah.
Is this like just a finished version of that?
I don't think they're the same thing.
No.
They're like the same though. Like
I remember
the same
not liking the
visuals,
other one,
the
though.
same
Very
drifting
not.
one.
The same.
I felt like they were very similar. Anyway, Slipstream's a racing game. It's got like a not 80s aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah.
The main thing about it is
Yeah.
drifting. You gotta learn to drift.
Yeah,
It's like
okay.
Tokyo Drift, but the game.
Took me forever to learn how you're supposed to drift.
Yeah, it doesn't do a good job telling you how to drift, but once you get it, life changer.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Like the first thing it tells you is exactly how to drift. What is up with all these simple mechanics?
How to
that
drift?
It pops up and it's like, hey, you gotta hit the LT and then back to the RT like real quick, and the faster you do it, the less like speed you lose.
Where did it say that?
Look, Alex, you should know, we don't read. We just play. We're gamers, not readers.
I loaded up the game, I hit play, got into a Grand Prix, and then I was driving. There was nothing about drifting. Never once did it mention drifting.
I'll tell you what, trying to play that game without drifting, borderline impossible.
It is impossible. Actually impossible.
You crash
Like,
into
you
everything.
can play it technically, but you cannot beat anyone at anything.
Yeah, you
ever.
lose nonstop.
For what it's worth, the game we played that was a Humble original is Oh Dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
How did I forget what that was? What it was called?
Yes.
Wow.
There's like barely any turns we don't need to drift. So like,
Yes, exactly.
Correct. You are correct. It's
Played that
very
game for like
bad.
20 minutes, not being able to drift.
like the
Very
level transitions where the splits into two roads. That's like the only spot where you don't drift. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we didn't mention the Slipstream. which is what the game's named after.
Which is the coolest
So-
part of the game.
Yeah, so, like, it's actually a thing that racers do where you, like, get behind another driver so they, like, block the wind resistance, and then you can, like, speed around them. And this game does that, basically, where you're behind them, but you can be, like, 5 miles behind them, and it still counts. I don't know that
Well-
that's right.
But it takes a long time to like build up the slipstream.
Okay, when I was playing, like, as soon as I got in a spot where it started to say Slipstream, I was going.
The best part is when you're drifting, and then
Yeah.
you meant
And
You can
slipstream
slipstream while drifting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great.
I'm like, oh, what? Okay.
The first time I did it by accident was via that.
Also, Alex mentioned there's a battle royale mode to this.
Why?
There is,
Yeah,
there
I
is a
didn't-
battle royale mode.
Fucking kill me.
I didn't attempt to play that, but I did see it.
I played it. It's basically just like a bunch of racers, and then after each map, whoever's in last place gets kicked out.
They're actually 99.
No, it's like
Thank God.
it's like 15.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The I guess we should explain the game structure is that you're just starting, and there's a like what do you call them, like enemies in front of you that
Like
you're
a
trying to
rival.
pass. Yeah, like a rival. That's the word I was looking for. And you've got to use all your slipstreaming to catch up with where they're at and pass them, and then stay in front of them until the map ends. And if you do, then you win that map. And then it goes through, like the normal mode goes through like 5 maps, and you're trying to beat 5 rivals.
Yeah.
Much more difficult than it looks.
It's a cool structure because it prevents you from just getting like a full lap ahead of the NPC and just being like, okay, I win now. Because you always start like in last and just have to catch up and beat the guy, which is cool. And all the rivals have like interesting like personalities. Like one guy's a robot and speaks in like programming language.
When you pass him, he says winning equals false.
His name is an Asimov reference.
Oh, really?
What is it? Is it multivac? I think it's
Yeah,
multivac.
multivac. Voting time.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be a yes for me. I enjoyed it.
Yes, for me as well.
Oh shit. I think I'm also gonna give it a yes actually.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence, but I like the slipstream mechanic, so.
I think that's the first racing game on the Bundle Rumble that we've given a positive review.
That's probably true because the last one I was thinking was Cars.
Project Cars.
Project Cars, excuse me.
Yeah, we've had like one of the dirt games. We've had
Oh god, don't talk about dirt.
2 Project Cars.
Left 30 degrees, 1.2.
God, I hate that game.
Don't cut.
I'm so triggered right now. Let's move on.
all right, 20-minute Metropolis. This is like it's like Time Attack SimCity. Is this the Humble original?
This is the Humble
original.
original.
This is the Humble original. Okay, so you're like building up a little city, and you're trying to get all the resources where they need to go so that you can build parks that generate victory points. And then you've got a timer of 20 minutes, and you're trying to get the highest score that you can in that 20 minutes, and that's it.
I think they did a pretty good job of simplifying it down to be playable in that 20-minute time period.
Yeah. I also like that the 20 minutes keeps it from spiraling out of control,
Yes.
which is usually where those games lose me.
The one problem I have with this game is, for me, it just wasn't really fun.
That's a pretty big one, I would say, actually.
Yeah, like I get the mechanics. I understood how the game played basically. There are a couple things that I think I was just kind of confused by.
Is it something that they say right when you
Yeah,
start the game?
it was right in the beginning tutorial, and it was how to build a road. No.
The tutorial's so funny. Like, it says the thing. It's like build the road, and then like it just repeats it on a loop until you click.
Yeah.
I watched it like 4 or 5 times at first before I realized that. It's like, what? How? Tell me how. It's like build the road.
I love all of those
gosh.
tutorials. All you do is build the road exactly where it showed you to build the road, and that's the tutorial.
Yep.
Until you get to like the last 2.
Kind of surprised you didn't like it, Aaron. I thought this would be your thing.
I did too.
Yeah, I also thought this was
I mean,
an Aaron game.
I thought based on just the art that I saw for this game when the bundle originally came out, I was excited for it because the art just looked way better than what the game turned out to be to me.
Interesting.
And it just wasn't. I didn't feel like it was overly complex. I felt like it was just simple. It was just 20 minutes. Like go play through it, just get your high score, see how you placed.
The thing is it gave me a score, but it didn't give me any idea on if that is good or not.
Yeah.
You get no indication.
There's no leaderboard or anything. Like, so I got a score, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, neat.
That's
I feel like I
probably
did pretty okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Voting time.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be a no for me.
I am gonna actually vote yes. For one specific thing, I think my favorite part of every SimCity game is starting SimCity. So
That's
them
fair.
distilling this into like just that is kind of cool.
Oh, you mean like not the managerial portion of making sure that the city maintains?
Yeah,
but
a
just
bunch of
like
shit.
but like laying it out, and it's all like really quick and snappy, and you get to like make all your plans for your residential stuff's gonna go and all that. That's always my favorite part, I think.
I think I'm also gonna give it a yes. This really isn't my kind of game, but as far as these things go, like this is the best one I think I've played, in my opinion.
I think I'm gonna give it a no.
I am so surprised. I thought this would be the opposite. Because you two Junos usually like the boring, shitty games, and this felt kind of like that. Like,
I know you're referencing the train game, but the
I
train
like
game,
the one where the trains go round.
you have like an objective that's not get as much score as you can. I never liked just high scoring games anyway.
Bundle vote?
Man, I was so meh on like almost everything in this bundle, except Vermintide's good and Tower Unite sucks.
I think this has enough interesting stuff that I don't even have a problem recommending it. Fight and Rage, I was pleasantly surprised, but I thought it was going to be total ass, but it was fun. The biggest surprise was obviously Late Shift. Really cool
yeah.
game. And then Cultist Simulator was also a treat, in my opinion. Just something different.
Yeah, I actually felt exactly the same way about Fight and Rage. I fully intended to not like it at all, and it was a lot of fun. And I actually really love Slipstream.
Actually, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, this is almost like my ideal bundle because it's a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have played normally, but since it's in the bundle, I've played it and I've now like experienced a new kind of game that I really liked. So I think that's really cool because none of these are like AAA. Like, oh yeah, like Vermintide is the closest, which is like I guess it's AAA, but it's not like an Assassin's
It's kind of
Creed.
B tier.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know, I really like this bundle.
Yeah, I mean, I liked things about this bundle, but on the other hand, there were definitely games where I was just kind of like, no, definitely no. And then other games that I was just, they were okay. I think the quality of the bundle was, when we first started this, I think we thought the quality of the bundle was going to be low. It exceeded those expectations for me, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, this is definitely a quality bundle. It's gonna be a no for me.
No for you? It's going to be a yes for me.
Yeah, I already said yes, but it's still a yes.
It's a no for me.
Early unlock time.
Oh yeah. What's first?
Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden.
So Mutant Year Zero is a very XCOM-like tactics game. It's pretty fun. It looks like it has some weird looter shooter type stuff going on in it, like a loot-based game like Diablo.
Yeah, I really thought I wasn't gonna like this game, but I kind of really liked it. I haven't played a ton of it yet.
Yeah,
Man.
But I think the biggest thing that I like is in XCOM when you're first trying to get to the enemy, it's still turn-based. So you have to spend like 5 hours moving all your guys to where they want to be.
Yep.
Whereas here, before you get in combat, it's like, okay, just walk around, like you're fine.
And you can set up before you get in combat.
Yeah, oh my god, it just makes it flow so much better. Like, obviously I love XCOM, whatever.
This stuff also works well.
Yeah.
It's pretty simplistic. It's basically like there's a ring around the enemies.
Well,
At least as far as I've gotten.
Yeah.
you can
and as
like
long as they're
stealthily
not-
take out some isolated
Correct.
enemies.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
That's what I mean.
I really like this game. I played 3 hours of it already.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's some cool things about it. You've already mentioned a couple. The fact that it is a looter shooter. I mean, has some of those characteristics. I like that portion of it. I love XCOM, so this is kind of just like a merge of the two. Additionally, I think the way that they've set up things in terms of enemies and how you can do the sort of movement for positioning, enemies are pretty punishing, or at least the ones I've played against so far. And that makes it all the more important for you to figure out exactly how to approach a battle versus the whole, moving your guys slowly over 5 or 6 turns before you get in position. Additionally, the dialogue and the story is actually fairly good so far.
I'm not like the biggest XCOM fan, so in turn, I'm not like the biggest fan of this one, I think. I think it's just a
Style.
genre thing. Yeah.
I think the most important thing is that there's a duck whose name is Ducks.
Yeah.
It's the best game.
Also,
it's the best game.
a boar whose name is Borman. So,
It's a classic. It's a 10 out of 10. You guys should pick it
I
up.
will tell you, the one thing that is probably the most exciting, maybe for you, Jake, is that there are a lot of hats
Yep.
Oh,
as you move forward.
Okay.
I picked up
Yeah,
a
I was gonna make sure
poker
to mention
dealing
that
hat.
for Jake.
I picked up a 1 foot tall like Abraham Lincoln top hat. I picked up
It
a
looks
face
real good on
mask.
deck.
It does. It looks real good, and it's perfect for him too because it gives you crit.
God, okay, I'm actually really excited now.
Yeah. Voting time. I'm excited about this game. So yes.
I'm gonna give it a no.
It's a yes from me as well.
Definitely a yes for me. Next up is Northgard, which is a RTS in the style of Age of Empires with some more interesting mechanics going on. You can only build like so many houses in each region, or so many buildings in each region, and each region has certain resources
Benefits?
that you can collect on. Yeah, benefits. It seems pretty neat.
Just wish RTSs were like fun.
Yeah, I feel that.
I like this game. The art is cool. And I think some of the ways that they've implemented territory management in this game, like you were talking about, with only a certain number of buildings within regions, and you're also exploring ruins, and you have scouts, and some of those mechanics are cool. But it's just, it feels slow. It's slogging to get through missions. But I think that's just what RTSs are.
Or like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is pretty slow. I like the region mechanic because it keeps you expanding constantly.
Yes.
Whereas in most RTSs, you can build a perimeter and then just build buildings inside of that indefinitely.
Until you're ready to go destroy everything, and then the mission's over in, minutes.
To be fair, I don't think RTSs are slow. I think this is slow.
Yeah.
This game kind of feels like Civ, but like RTS. Is that weird to say?
No?
No, it's fine.
It's like a more simplified Civ.
For what it's worth, how many missions have you guys played through yet?
2.
I don't know. I just did.
I think.
I just did like a regular skirmish thing.
Oh, that's whoa. Okay, yeah, that's totally different then.
I just jumped in. I figured this campaign would like try to tutorialize and limit me, so I just wanted to see what all I could do.
It's gonna be a no for me. I wish it was a yes. I like the style, but it's a no for me.
I mean, we'll play more of it.
Yeah.
For now, it's a no for me.
Yeah.
I'm unsure on this one.
I literally played enough to realize it was an RTS and then stopped playing. I don't really like RTSs. I think this is gonna be a struggle for me next month, but I'll try to give it a fair shake as best I can. But for now, it's a no.
I think I'm liking it. I think it's a yeah.
And there was Absolver.
Oh, then there was.
I thought Absolver was gonna be really cool. It looks really cool.
It does look really cool.
And then I started it, and it's about punching people.
Yeah.
And like, wow, that's disappointing.
And changing stances.
Yeah, wow. So it's like a third-person fighter where you've got like 4 stances, and you've got one move that'll switch between the stances. And I don't know how it works, but just mashing punch seems to work pretty good, at least at the start.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, you have this mask imbued with some amount of power that puts you into this world, and your ultimate goal is to defeat these 3 champions and then like 6 of these big guys who are throughout this sort of rundown village area in order to get to the tower where you can become an Absolver. I don't know what the point of becoming an Absolver is, but I think that's sort of mechanically what you're trying to do.
Solve things.
Sure, yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah, basically when you fight the big guys, I fought one of them, and same thing. I'm like, I don't know how to switch between stuff. I don't understand any of the mechanics of how these things work. I'm not good at fighting games in general, so... but in this case, I'm just mashing Y, the power attack. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yep. And then dodge a little bit, mash Y, dodge a little bit, mash Y. Oh, gotta regen some stamina. Dodge a little bit, mash Y. That was
The thing that's weird, not only is there a dodge, there's like a sidestep or like a duck and jump, and there's so many things you have to keep track of
So,
in a fight.
Y is not. Here's the key. Y is not the power attack.
whatever
but
the power attack is.
Switching from the left stance to the up stance using Y is the power attack.
I have no idea what you just said.
using
Why switches stances and power attacks?
No.
Yeah.
Power attacks come out from specific stance switches using Y.
Are we not saying the same thing?
It's different than just having a button be the power attack.
But it power attacks always.
I mean, you're always in a specific stance, so hitting
my
Y
God.
is going to power attack for that stance. Is that
Can
incorrect?
we just agree that the combat is overly complicated?
It is incredibly complicated.
Okay, so it is very complicated, and things that I've heard about the game I haven't experienced yet, but apparently you like will skill up and learn new moves to go with different stances, and you like slot your person with like a unique set of moves that you can develop over time.
Here's the problem I have. If you don't fucking need it, like if I can just punch them repeatedly with regular punches, why would I bother?
Well, it's probably
Also-
not going to work on the big guys, if I had to guess.
I faced some other people while playing. I got obliterated. I don't think I punched them once.
Not surprised.
So that's the other thing is I'm pretty sure it's like a shared world, right?
Yeah.
Where there's other players running around.
Yeah, that was me fighting you, Aaron. I'm very good at this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got some cool ideas. It's kind of impenetrable.
Yeah. That is the main problem.
Okay, voting time. It's gonna be a no for me.
I am giving this one a question mark also. I'm not sure about it yet.
I was super disappointed in this game, so I'm not looking forward to playing it next month. It's a no from me.
No so far.
Okay. And then, of course, because the Humble Bundle has to change things every month, so I have to change the video layout, there's an early preview, which is different than the early unlocks somehow. I don't know how.
Can you only play like a couple hours of it? Wait, it's
I
a
don't
minute.
know.
You don't need a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minit is a really cool, like a little adventure roguelike where it's almost like the old top-down Zeldas. Feels like
There you
them.
go.
But roguelike in that you only live for 60 seconds each life. And you go and do a bunch of stuff, and then you die at the 60-second mark, and you respawn back at the start, and you're trying to complete different objectives.
More likely, you do exactly one thing.
Yes,
And then
usually
you die
do
and go
one
back to
thing.
start.
But it's something that you've accomplished. You can help, and you can sort of add on in later lives.
I'd also like to mention you don't necessarily live for 1 minute.
Well, no,
if
you
you
can
don't
certainly die
remember
early.
that somebody tells you you can't really play this game on a 144 hertz monitor in full screen.
Yes, you
I
can.
forgot about that, and I'm like playing this game. I'm like, okay, first of all, this doesn't feel like a minute, and then in the death animation, it's like 2 frames per second because it can't figure out what to do until you get back into the main area. So I had to minimize down to in a window in 1080p and run it that way. But yes, 1 minute
Yeah,
once you get
can't
to that
play
point.
this in greater than 60 frames. Yeah, it goes faster.
You were
than a
going
minute.
very fast. I mean, it was way
You
more
move,
fun.
You move really quick.
When you go down to 60 frames, it feels really slow.
Feels very slow.
Wow.
But this game's really cool. It's got a lot of really cool, like, I don't know that I call them quest lines because they're not that long, but
It's basically a puzzle game.
yeah.
Yeah. It's very cool. I've never heard a concept like this.
It looks like I completed the whole game. Granted, I didn't do everything, but I completed the entire storyline in 83 minutes.
83 lives. Not bad.
Probably less lives than that, actually.
Probably more lives.
Probably is more lives because you're probably not using.
You can kill yourself early.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to do anything else this life. Just kill me now instead of waiting another 15 seconds.
Voting time. This was gonna be yes for me. I enjoyed what I've played so far.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what else they can throw at me.
Definitely yes from me. I really like this one.
For sure, yes. This game's really cool.
Okay, and that is the whole review of all the things. Pumber will be back next month.
Wait, we need some sort of outro so that I can put it at the end. So it's
We done!
okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.